Here, the flagship appears less like a ship than a reef-split scar, where timber, iron, and history were pinned to the bottom. When Morgan's fleet met this reef, scale turned cruel, one impact, and command dissolved into scattle. Much of the ship no longer stands in clean order. It survives as compressed architecture, where decks, that rib line is our anchor in the site geometry. Follow it, and the wreck keeps making sense. Even shallow wrecks keep private spaces, corners where collapse sealed away the ship's last untouched geometry. Small siltouts matter here because the wreck is legible through edges, and once those edges disappear, the ship stops reading as a route.
Morgan's march on Panama was launched with river assault in mind, so every surviving hint of storage or transport gear matters more than romance.
The bigger timber mass ahead is worth the route. Same wreck, same axis, but a denser section of hull.
Objects this small matter because they restore scale. Someone used this vessel as a lived workpiece, not just a weapon.
Fragments like this suggest controlled work at the stern, navigation, command, or steering functions broken apart but still clustered by design. Same stern section, different line. The broad tear keeps the geometry readable without forcing the squeeze. Collapse often preserves access indirectly. The safest entrance is not always the original one, but the wound left after the ship failed. That jolt is defense, not threat. Reef life treats every dark hole in this wreck as shelter worth defending. Always. A chest in context is more valuable unopened than broken. Position, wood, fasteners, and collapse. The split crack, the chest hollow, the steering iron, that cluster is enough to hold the route without forcing a blind squeeze. A working ship leaves repair traces everywhere. Tools, fasteners, patched joinery. From outside again, the wreck stops feeling like pockets and starts reading as a vessel torn open along its working bones. That alignment puts us exactly where we should be, the stern flank behind, the heavier field ahead, and the wreck axis still intact. We have the stern's logic now, but the wreck is still withholding mass. Another section waits ahead beneath sand, iron, and reef growth. The size of this fastening group points to load-bearing deck machinery, not loose gear, something central to how the ship worked. This is where wreck archaeology becomes architecture again, and the ship is no longer a scatter, but a broken system. The square void, the ballast shoulder, the heavier field, that triangle keeps the center of the ship legible. This is the first true sense of the ship's middle weight. Cargo, working structure, and collapsed deck all folded into one basin. Even a wreck floor becomes habitat. Empty cargo voids are now defended like living rooms in the reef. Shot beside cargo remnants is exactly the kind of overlap a raiding vessel should leave behind. War material inside a working hold. The low pass was only a throat. The ship opens again here, which is what keeps the midsection feeling architectural rather than random. Even these startled bursts are useful. They tell us which seams stay open, which voids still breathe, and where the ship retains depth. The pattern keeps repeating: support, drainage, handling, cargo. This center section still remembers what jobs it once had.
Backing out confirms the hierarchy here. Small service pockets around one major vertical landmark at the core of the ship.
The center line now opens to the port side, where guns, hull skin, and current begin to replace the tighter logic of the hold.
A paired gun line like this matters because it turns isolated ordnance into a shipboard position, a side built for force, not just transport.
This side is important because it ties hull, guns, and hold together in one glance, but current is already starting to use the tear against visibility.
Tear is still the cleanest reference on this side, keep it in sight, and the center of the ship stays recoverable. This is the turning point. Current is stripping away distance, leaving only the nearest edges and whatever landmark remains closest. Even startled movement is harder to read now. The current is turning every near shape into a false cue. There, tear rim first, gun shape second. That's enough to recover the side route without guessing. The central void is back in view, which means the disorientation phase has passed without losing the ship's main geometry. The center and port side have yielded their logic, but the forward body still holds the ship's unfinished answer. The forward body often preserves differently, less hold, more force, more framing, and a harder collision with whatever stopped the ship. This is the kind of cluster that makes the bow intelligible. Handling gear, a feed line, and a confined service pocket, all still grouped by function. The human trace is small, but it anchors the space. A working bow, lived in by sailors. Finds like this matter because they pull labor, meals, and routine into the same frame as anchors, guns, and command. A vessel like this was never only one thing: warship, transport, living space, and instrument, all at once.
forward body finally resolves, handling gear, domestic traces, shaped finish, and the sea-facing openings where the ship met force first.
That groan is enough. Forward structure under load, falling grit, and no gain in pressing deeper.
We've got the bow's logic. That's the limit. Time to leave before the structure decides for us.
The exit is clear now. Bow breach behind, gun line ahead, and the central void waiting beyond as the ship's interior compass.
The centre is back in wand, the void, the ballast shoulder, and the stern root are all where they should be.
We leave the center as we found it, readable, undisturbed, and more complete in meaning than in recovery.
The stern closes the loop, steering hardware, storage, and the outer hull, all where the earlier route said they would be.
What's confirmed now is structure. Stern, center, port battery, and bow all belong to one coherent body. What remains unknown is buried, collapsed, or unsafe to force. Exactly the kind of uncertainty a wreck deserves. We leave now because the structure has spoken. The evidence is richer, untouched than forced, and